College basketball is officially over. Our thoughts on the season. The Hoyas have their new coach. Do we like the hire? The MVP race is heating up. Who are we picking? And Tony Romo's called it a career. Were we surprised? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans. Welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Another fantastic college basketball season came to a close Monday night with North Carolina taking home the title. The Tar Heels got the redemption from last year's buzzer beater loss, and they took home their 6th national title. Kyle, what were your thoughts on the game and the season as a whole?
Well, I mean, I thought the refs slowed it down too much. I
thought
it was a little. It would start and go, start and stop.
Yeah, the flow was interrupted.
Yeah, there wasn't a flow in the game, and Gonzaga was right there at the very end. I think they got a little freaked out when they got down by 3 and under a minute left, and there was that big, was he out of bounds? And Kennedy Meeks, was his hand out of bounds and his hand on the ball?
Yeah.
We don't know, and it's tough to go back and say that because we don't know
what
happens.
Calls, and you still got to play the game after the call is made.
They were only down by 3. I mean, obviously 1 point or 3 point is a big difference, but you're still a one-possession game.
Exactly. At the end of the day, the call is what the call is, and you have to get up and you have to finish out the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the game was. I thought it was a good game. Obviously it wasn't as exciting as climactic as last year's buzzer beater finish.
Like it was good at times when Nigel Williams-Goss and I think it was Joel Berry kind of went back and forth a little bit, but then the refs slowed it down again. And I'm not saying it was a bad job by the refs. I'm just saying there was 27 fouls in the second half.
Yeah, and a lot of them on the big man for Gonzaga. You have Collins going out late there in the second.
That was a big play in that game.
I think that was the pivotal move because the whole game, Karnowski just wasn't getting it going. He was 1 for 8 on the night.
Exactly.
Only had 9 points. Collins was 4 for 6 and also had 9 points, but he fouled out, and I think that was really key because he was the only
freshman for them, and he's been good.
He's been great, but I think that's really the pivotal. I think Joel Berry, that was a big surprise seeing him come out and play the way he did.
With that bum ankle that he's been playing with, like 4 games, I think?
Yeah, and not only that, just outshining Justin Jackson and, Meeks out there on the
Jackson. It was a brick city for Justin Jackson.
He did not have the best of game. But, moving on from that, just the college basketball season in a whole, I want to talk on Tech a little bit. With this being Chris Beard's first year, I thought it was, it was nice, but obviously we're looking for improvement next year.
Yeah, and I think it was a great season overall. I mean, not just Texas. I mean, basketball in general was a great season overall. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, the tournament didn't really live up to its hype. Yeah. And I don't know if that was just because maybe it was so good during the regular season, it just didn't live up to the hype. And there wasn't a lot of mid-majors this year, I'll say. And the mid-majors that were there aren't really mid-majors.
Exactly. It was pretty, by the book for the majority of the tournament. You had 2 #1 seeds face off in the national title game. So I can see how you could look for more, uneasiness and more twists and turns. But, we got what we got, and I think it was overall a pretty good season.
Hey, real quick, would you rather play for Roy Williams or Coach K?
I got to say, I would say Coach K, just because he's had so much more experience with the Olympics and all that.
A former Georgetown Hoya great is headed back to his alma mater as Patrick Ewing was hired as the new head coach on Monday. Billy, do you like the choice by the Hoyas?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's the answer to pull them out and put them back on top. I mean, it could be very well, but we also have to remember that Patrick Ewing doesn't have very, is not very knowledgeable with recruiting.
15 years as an assistant, but in the NBA.
Exactly, in the NBA.
It's a different world.
It is a very different world. With the college, recruiting is such a big part of it. Yeah. And, he's already came out and said that, this is going to be a rough year for him. Yeah. The recruiting timeline is pretty much passed for this next season. So what I really find interesting, though, is that he's replacing John Thompson III. He's got a lot of mentoring from his coach back in
John Thompson Jr.
Exactly, his tenure there at Georgetown. Yep. So I think that'll be real interesting to see. But not only that, this is his first head coaching job in general. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how he mixes this knowledge from the NBA with his knowledge of the college game and see how it'll work.
Yeah, sometimes that doesn't always work. Sometimes a college coach going to a pro sport doesn't always work. Sometimes a pro coach coming to a college doesn't work. I mean, they can't all be Brad Stevens.
No, they can't. And what I like really about it is it's a big name. Yeah. So people are gonna
and that's gonna help with recruiting.
Exactly. This could help recruiting in the sense that maybe people just want to go, I want to go play for a legend in Patrick Ewing. Exactly, I want to go relive those times at Georgetown that were there when he was there.
Yeah, and I think it's tough for Georgetown. I don't know if they wanted to get away from the Thompson era kind of, I guess. They had John Thompson Jr. They had another coach in between that and then his son. Yeah. But I don't know.
Like they had to, though. 13 seasons and only 1 Final Four appearance.
No, I expected him to be fired. I mean, not making the tournament and really struggling. That's not what Georgetown's about.
No,
they're a winning program, and I think Patrick Ewing can help bring that back. And I hope he does, because I think Georgetown needs to be relevant in basketball.
They definitely do. With the NBA playoffs approaching fast, the MVP race is heating up. Kyle, who are you choosing as your MVP?
Oh, man, it really is heating up.
All right.
It really is heating up down the stretch.
Closer with so many remarks of, asking for co-MVP, which I think is blasphemy.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But,
No, not participation trophies. That's like as bad as participation trophies.
So who are you taking?
I'm gonna go with James Harden.
And I'll tell you why.
And I'll tell you why. Because the man's averaging almost a triple double. Anyways, he's averaging 29.2 points per game, eight rebounds a game, and 11 assists per game. Leads the league in assists. Okay, his team is over 50+ wins. They have the third best record in the whole league. Now, obviously, they're third in the conference because, the West Conference is the best conference. But they're playing well. He's been efficient with what he's done this year. He's playing in a new role as a point guard, and I think he's flourishing. I think this is his best season, and he should have won it 2 years ago. When the Rockets were like the second seed in the West, but I think this year's his year.
He's making every case for James Harden to be the MVP, but I just don't see how you can overlook Russell Westbrook. He's already tied. Inefficient, but you know what? I'll give you another stat for you. Their win percentage, whenever he scores a triple-double, is 78%. Whenever he doesn't, it's only 35%. They need him to put up these numbers.
That's more of a knock on his team than it is.
And that's the only reason you can give it to. What he's doing right now.
If you
he would score less points if he wasn't taking this many shots. But those assists per game, those rebounds per game,
when you're taking 40 shots a game just to get to 40 points, that's not efficient.
But if he doesn't take,
I'm not saying he does take 40 shots. But that's exaggeration.
But if he doesn't take those 40 shots,
he has to. Yeah, he has to do that. And I think James Harden has to be the same way. Now James Harden has a little bit better talent on his team. I'll go ahead and give him that.
I would say he has a lot better talent.
But if you take James Harden and Russell Westbrook, both off their teams, they're both going to be in the lottery. Okay, either way, they're both valuable to their team.
That, if you were to take Russell Westbrook from Oklahoma City and you were to take James Harden from Houston, then Houston would still possibly have a chance of making the playoffs.
If you switched them?
No. If you just took them both from the team.
Okay.
Houston
would not have no chance to make the playoffs.
They would still have a way better chance than Oklahoma City.
Absolutely not.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Maybe better chance than OKC, but absolutely not. I
would still think they have a considerable fighting chance to make the playoffs.
No, they wouldn't even be close. There's Eric Gordon and Anderson leading the team. That's not enough.
Hey, Eric Gordon's been one of the best three-point shooters all year.
Because James Harden. Yeah. Tony Romo is hanging up his cleats for dress shoes as he has taken a job with CBS as an analyst. Billy, are you surprised by the move, and what does this mean for teams like the Texans and Broncos, who are the favorites to sign him?
I was surprised. I thought, he has a lot of competitive spirit. I thought that he would want to continue his career and chase that Super Bowl.
And it seemed like that's what he was going to do.
And, every indication gave us that thought. But I like the move. At this point,
it's much better for him. You get paid a lot of money to sit around and not get hit.
And not only
it's like being a backup quarterback.
Exactly. So. Not only that, coming from the Dallas Cowboys fan perspective, it would have been really tough to see him play with another team. And we got to wonder about his health. The guy's he is injury prone.
You want him to be able to walk.
You want the man to have a life after football.
Exactly.
So I thought that was great. But, for teams like the Texans and the Broncos, I don't know. This means that they're going to have to attack the draft heavy. I think Houston undoubtedly, no matter what,
Houston
will take a quarterback.
Tom Savage is not the answer.
Now, the Broncos, I think
they're fine.
They'll be all right with Simeon and Lynch.
And I think that's what they wanted. I think, they were hopeful if they got Romo. Yeah, okay, we'll get Romo if we want. But Simeon wasn't terrible for him last year, and Lynch wasn't. They were young. They can get better.
They'll suffice.
There's a reason they took Paxton Lynch that early last year. But again, with the Texans, getting rid of Brock Osweiler, which I don't blame the move at all, and I understand making the cap space for Tony Romo, but now you just have Tom Savage, and I think Tom Savage is probably better than Brock Osweiler, which most quarterbacks are. They're going to have to take one. And I think me and you both like Patrick Mahomes there. But at this point, I don't think he's going to be on the board by 25 no more.
And, if Mahomes is gone by that time, you've got the top quarterbacks. You got Trubisky, you got Watson, Kaiser, and then even Davis Webb. So that not a lot of these names are really standing out. So do the Texans risk their pick, on taking a guy that they're not so sure on? Because we've heard from reports that they're sure on Mahomes. If he's there, they're almost undoubtedly going to take him.
I think a lot of teams are starting to look at that with Mahomes because he's been so impressive during, the training or his pro day and obviously the combine. So he's improving his stock. We see him as high as 13th in one of the latest projections, and I think the Texans are going to have to trade up to get him. I don't think he's on the board by 25.
The real question is, will they pull the trigger and make the trade?
Yeah, and
they've got a lot.
Rick Smith is not a fan of offense. It seems like, so I don't know. Can they win with Tom Savage? Well, they won with Brock Osweiler, so
I mean,
they can win with anybody.
They can, but if
they can't win a Super Bowl.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's where they want to get. That's the next hump for the Texans.
And real quick, is Tony Romo a Hall of Famer in your opinion?
I think he'll be on the ballot. Whether he gets in or not, I don't think he will. I think it'll be a little bit of a shame just because you got guys like Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach. Obviously, they have those championships under their belt, but his numbers just dwindle.
His numbers are the Hall of Fame numbers.
Theirs.
Yeah, his numbers are Hall of Fame, but the wins matter, and
the wins
Super
do matter.
Bowl rings matter, and I don't know if he has enough to get in because of that.
I think if he does get in, it'll definitely be in the later years, and he might squeak in there. But I can only hope so. I would like to see him in there, but I just don't think he will.
Yeah. Well, that's our show for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big name stories in sports. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Until next time.